I wouldn't encourage anybody to go overboard when it comes to animations in Microsoft PowerPoint. After all, the idea is to make your audience excited, not queasy. Let's take a look at some of the animations you can use to add action to your words. Sometimes, but not always, actions speak louder than words. If, for example, you wanted to add some animations to these slides, you could insert a picture of a person. Let's say a runner. And if we do find a runner, let's see if there's anything that fits the tone of our presentation. We could insert so many choices, but which one will be the keeper? This one looks about right. Let's insert it. I'll place the image on the left. I thought we'd have our runner running from the left to the right side of the screen. That would be an example of animation, as you're touring the zoo. So, I could choose, when I select an object like this, animations. And there, I could have him appear by choosing him to just show up, or fade in, or would it be fly in, or would it be float in, or split. But maybe fade might be appropriate, so we could have him fade in. But to actually see or have control over this, we want to display the animation pane. So, I'll choose to display the animation pane. That shows you that we do have a picture that is going to fade in. But the fade in is a little quick, if you ask me, and so I'm going to have it be much slower. So we'll do, instead of 0.5 seconds, we'll have this fade in across 2 seconds. Watch the difference. It comes in a little bit more slowly. And maybe once the runner fades in, we want to follow the first animation with another action. Let's add an animation to this person. Let's do a motion path, for example. So in order to do a motion path, you have to find the motion path. In this case, we're going to use a simple line. Once I've found and added the motion path to this fellow, I need to select where the beginning is and where the ending of the motion path is. And so we have two animations. One is the appearance and then the movement. But you see, the movement is going to be after the previous action, the fade in. So I'm going to choose after previous. And when we do schedule this to be after the previous, here's our animation. First he'll appear, then he'll move across the screen. But I don't like the idea that he's running in front of everything. Let's take this picture and move it to the front. So I'll choose where it says Bring Forward. I'll select Bring to the Front. That way, when we do have our friend over here who is animated and whose animation settings will be maybe even slower, maybe even 3 seconds for the picture to fade in. Once I've done that, let's run the animation again. Here's our slide. And when I'm ready and click, here comes that guy, and eventually he's going to move in between the photographs, behind the first photograph and in front of the other, as a way to lead us to the next slide. Building animations is a lot of fun. Don't settle for one animation. Tie them together, like my example of the fade in and out of the motion path. But don't leave your audience hanging. Where did the runner go? Well, he must have run over to the other slide. I'll escape out of this presentation window so that I can select our graphic along with its animation and select Copy. After I choose Copy, I'll move to the next slide labeled Chicago, and then I'll choose Paste. But when I choose Paste, I actually don't want him to be on my slide. I want him to be outside the visible area, if I can change the zoom percentage, in the wings. And the reason I want him off the slide is because he's actually going to come in as if he were continuing to run. So I'll choose that graphic and not say on click. It will run with the previous, meaning that it will, as soon as I travel from the previous slide to this slide, it's going to start the animation. and the duration is set for a much shorter period of time. And then he's going to run across the screen. So let's see the impact that these settings have. So I'll do another run-through, so to speak, of my presentation animations by clicking the presentation view. I'll trigger the animation by clicking the slide. So here he fades in, and he's on his way. And when I go to the next slide, there he is. So let's look at that once more. When I'm on this slide, I'll click the mouse. He fades in. After the first animation, runs off the slide, teaching us to go to the next slide. And here he comes, continuing the journey right there. That's an example of an animation, one that starts on one slide and then concludes on the other, to keep your audience on their toes. There are other types of animations, the kind that transition from one slide to the next. If you did want to insert some transitions, animations applied to the entire slide, let's try this. Let's go to Slide Sorter View by clicking View and clicking Slide Sorter. And then let's start by selecting the first slide and then choose Transitions, because maybe you like the push, or the wipe, or the split, or the reveal. Maybe you like the shape. Or maybe you like some of these other fancier ones that, if I select the second slide, when I choose some of the fancier ones, you'll be able to see more easily. I can choose Vortex. Wow. Or I could choose Glitter. Feels like that should have a sound effect. Or some of these even newer ones, one of which is named Page Curl. Another one which is named Drapes. And if I'm selecting Drapes, you can choose effect options. Maybe from the left. Or perhaps from the right. Or you could just start to experiment or play with any of these. Maybe the peel off. And you would like the peel off from the left. Because if you wanted to apply the selected transition to all the slides, once you choose Apply to All, here's what will happen when we do our preview. You'll see the first one to show you what will happen. If you run the presentation starting from Los Angeles, click for the transition. There's the next slide. Click. There's the next slide. Click. There's the third slide. Remember, when I click, it's not going to transition. Click to see the runner, and he's going to run across the screen. Now when I click, it will peel off. And there's my runner arriving breathlessly in Chicago. For him, the Winded City. Those are examples of animation.